Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about how you can kickstart your feminine energy. If you're new here, hello, my name is Nicole. Typically on this channel, I talk to you guys about how you can DIY certain parts of your level up journey, and that then gives space and gives resources to then go see professionals for other things. So in today's video, I want to talk about ways that we can really get that feminine energy and feminine vibe and feminine essence going, so you will be in a great place to put these things into practice in the real world. So with that, let's get into today's video. So one of the most practical ways that I personally have kickstarted my feminine energy is cultivating hobbies that really grab onto that essence of being feminine. Now, I feel like on YouTube, don't burn me at the stake here, but I feel like a lot of girls here on YouTube are like, let's do baking and let's do needlepoint threading or whatever it's called. And I think that's great, and I think that works for some people, but ultimately, I don't think that being feminine reduces you down to a character type. I think that there's ways that you can be feminine and practice cultivating that feminine energy in ways that aren't necessarily always going to stereotypically be baking or have you acting quite placid. With that being said, the thing that has helped me the most in regards to cultivating that feminine energy has been times when I'm creating something, times when I am slowing down and taking the time to create or curate. So whether that means you go antiquing or whether that means that you go shopping, I think the time of assessing and taking things in and feeling things is going to be the things that make you feel the most feminine. Because even if you look at something as simple as baking, let's look at the tactile part of baking. You're getting your hands in something. You're creating something. Now, I think that's going to be different for every single one of you guys watching this. It might be baking for you, but for me personally, sometimes that's painting. Sometimes that is going antiquing and then finding something so beautiful that I can refurbish. Sometimes that means gardening. I love seeing what I can make grow, and I feel like that's like the essence of a woman. We grow things. We bring new life, and baking is great. I'm not the best at it, but I think there's so much more that can cultivate your feminine energy other than baking. I think what I'm seeing across the board is that things that will help harbor and harness your feminine energy is going to be intentional and is going to help you practice slow living. Hopefully that makes sense. The next thing that I think will help you harness your feminine energy and get it kickstarted is understanding that there is life and death in the power of the tongue. And some of you girls are gonna know where I got that. But that said, I am somebody that my tongue has got the better of me in the past. And now when I'm getting worked up about something, I ask myself, will this even matter tomorrow? I ask myself, if me freaking out about this, after this freak out, will I be in the exact same place that I am in now, or I even was 5 minutes ago before this issue arose? And often I'm finding there's actually nothing really that is worth bringing that anger and those words out of me. So, you know, we've all seen the Meghan Markle clip where I think for the most part, we've all seen that Meghan Markle clip when she's talking about Prince Harry and she's like, is he kind? And I think that there is such an importance in being kind, although that video was ridiculous. But I do think that when we practice speaking kind words and we practice using beautiful words, it emits that feminine essence from within us. You know what I picture? Do you know what I picture when I think of like that femininity coming out of me? You know, in The Little Mermaid, when Ursula the sea witch, she grabs Ariel's like voice and is like, when we are being feminine, I feel like you can see that voice coming out of you. So what are the characteristics that you need to display in your day-to-day life that is going to visually, like, picture that? What is going to make that essence come out of you? Does that make sense? So really, mind your words. I am not going to come on here and say don't cuss. I think we all know that cussing isn't going to sound the most intelligent. It's an area that I definitely have to watch my mouth with. But that being said, I do think cusses are just words. They're words with emotion attached to it. They're words with intention attached to it. And if I can choose what type of intention and what type of emotion gets attached to my words, I'm going to try and choose that in a more kind sense and kind mindset. Does that make sense? All right, so the next thing that really helped me in regards to kickstarting my feminine energy is understanding that being Miss Independent and Miss Boss Babe doesn't give space or give room for people to bless us. I used to think, without going too much into my past, I often used to feel like people were treating me a little bit like charity. And in reality, sometimes people just want to bless you. And when you are like, I don't need that, I could do this on my own, I'm a strong, independent woman, like that doesn't leave space for people to bless us. And I think that when you can accept a compliment, when you can accept a gift and be gracious in that, your femininity shines through. I think when we let these moments happen, it allows us to be soft and not be so callous. And I think sometimes when these moments where we are blessed, it makes us feel a little bit vulnerable, but to be vulnerable is to be soft, and the opposite of soft is being calloused, and I want to be soft. I don't want to be callous. So allowing people to bless me has been a game changer for me. All right, the next point is let bitterness go. Your feminine energy will not radiate from you if you are harboring bitterness, and this has been something, even though I didn't think I was bitter about something anymore, I definitely noticed that there were still certain people that I was just like, and I would scowl at, and you can't be both. The best way that I like describing this to people is you can't have a car in drive and in reverse at the same time. It's physically impossible. So for me, I want to move forward in my life. I don't want to be looking back. I don't want to be reversing. So which one am I going to choose? Am I going to choose to be reversing, or am I going to be choosing to move forward and drive forward? So let go of the bitterness, stop looking in the past, and look to the future. So the next thing that I want to talk about in regards to kickstarting your feminine energy is looks do matter. I feel like, especially in the day and age that is Instagram, we have been really catapulted with noise and, you know, messages being like, I can come as I am, I can show my rolls, I can have like all of my acne, and of course all of these things are true. But I also think that there's a certain level of care that we should hold ourselves with pride, and I just think that appearance does matter, and I don't think people like to admit that to themselves because it makes them feel guilty. And a lot of people don't see the importance of staying disciplined. And I think if they had an honest conversation with themselves and they admitted that they judge others, and therefore it would only be understandable that people judge them based off of their appearance, they would then be able to quickly move forward, not only in their goals in life, but in their feminine energy. And I think for me personally, the minute that I accepted, you know what, I can't show up here looking like this, otherwise people are going to think X, Y, and Z of me, is the minute that I was like, right, so-and-so might feel like showing up this way, but I don't. And I don't because of this. And I think a great way to kind of look at how you present yourself to the world and how you are moving forward in your femininity is, would you show up in front of your mother like this? Would you show up in front of your grandmother like this? Would you show up in front of the queen as this? And if you look at, you know, certain people that maybe have a higher standard of living than where you are currently, if you felt embarrassed about showing up in your current state in front of them in that way, I feel like you have to do some self-reflection and have an honest conversation with yourself about the discipline and the care that you are going to put into your day-to-day. With that being said, I've said this in a previous video, if you went to a restaurant or if you went to a resort and they were serving you food and they just lapped it on the plate, didn't look appetizing in the slightest, you would not be excited to eat that meal. And we are always consuming one another, always. And this isn't just about men, this isn't just about women, this isn't just about judging one another, this isn't about falling into the comparison trap. We like beautiful things. Why do you go on holiday? You go there, you take in the beauty. I do think that the standard of beauty is going to be different from place to place and person to person. After all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But I don't think anybody is looking at a garbage pit or the dump and being like, wow, this is so beautiful. Let's just like actually have an honest conversation about that. No one is doing that. And so I think that we need to have honest conversations with ourselves in regard to how we care for ourselves. And when you have that conversation, that will immediately boost, like, you know, when your car, the battery has died in your car and you have to put those two plugs on it and then a jump start, I think that's what it's called, that will jumpstart your feminine energy. Because the minute that you have the honesty with yourself, because you can lie to others, but there's only so much lying to yourself that you can do. I think when you have that honest conversation with yourself, you will see your feminine energy soar. Okay, so the next thing that I want to refer to in regards to kickstarting your feminine energy is ditching the dude, the bro, and the man. I am Canadian. I often say the word dude and it just doesn't sound very feminine. And another one here in the UK since I moved here has definitely been like mate. I personally don't use the word mate, but I've heard a few of my girlfriends or people that I've been friends with previously and they say mate and I'm like, it just doesn't sound right coming out of your mouth. So ditch the words that are slang and kind of like pally pally. It doesn't sound very feminine. All right, the next point that I want to talk about, yes, I have already touched on a tiny bit, that is the swearing, but again, I'm not going to go into it. I've already gone into it in one part of this video, but I do think that there's certain words that we could find better ones for, and that is like saying, instead of saying I'm going to the toilet, which a lot of Brits do, I think that there is a classier and more feminine way of saying where's the powder room, where is there a place that I can go to in private, things like that, instead of like talking about the commode that you're going to excrete in. I don't even know if those are the right words, but I think you know what I mean. I just think saying I'm going to the toilet doesn't sound very feminine in the slightest, or I need to go pee. I don't need to know what you're going to go do in the toilet. Does that make sense? So yeah, I think find classier words that is going to excuse you without telling everybody what you're going to do. Like you don't say, I'm gonna go change my tampon. I'm gonna go, like you would never say that, but then why do we say, oh, I need to go poo. Oh, I need to go pee. I don't need to know what you're going to do. In regards to language, I want to touch on this as well very quickly. I am really trying to not use words that are very abrasive and very impactful in regards to action. So one of the things, you guys may see me stumble over this in some of my videos when I'm ending it, I don't think it sounds very classy to say hit that like button, smash that subscribe. It's just, it's too like, if you thought about hitting someone in your life, that's like forceful, and I don't think that that is something that is very feminine. So try to refrain from using words that are like, that would actually hurt people if you were doing it to them physically. Does that make sense? And the second last tip that I want to give you is be self-aware. I have already spoken a little bit about how there's certain areas that I have had to check myself, and that's because as I go on this journey, I am becoming more and more and more aware of how I am moving through life and how I might be perceived. Now, I definitely think that there comes a point where you're not necessarily doing things for other people's opinion of you, but equally, I think you have to be aware that the way you're presenting yourself is going to give people an opinion of you. So if I'm going to give people an opinion, what opinion would I like to give them of me? And I would like to give them the most positive opinion of me if possible. There's that quote where it says, you can be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world and there's still going to be somebody that doesn't like peaches, and that is so true. I'm not trying to say that you should be palatable to everybody, but equally you should try to put your best forward. And I think that starts with being self-aware and again being able to have that healthy, honest conversation with yourself. Last but not least, if you're really looking to kickstart your feminine energy, you really need to assess what boundaries that you have and how you are going to put them in place. I see a lot of talk online about having boundaries, but what does that actually look like when it's fleshed out? What does that actually look like practically in your life? Not in my life, but in your life, because we're all gonna have different boundaries. Think of it like when you see a farm or when you see, you know, someone's piece of land. Some people will have, you know, chicken wire, some people will have wood fencing, some people will have a gated community. How they put that boundary in place is going to be different from person to person. So again, going back to that self-awareness point, when you are self-aware and you understand what type of gate you need to put in place, that's going to allow you to have the appropriate boundaries for you. Learning and taking inspiration and guidance from people online is just that. It's just guidance, and I'm so glad that you found yourself watching this video. However, you can only come up with these answers because you are the only person that is going to know what fully works and truly works for you. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you would consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on this topic. Let me know, is there anything specific that you want to hear from me? Do let me know in the comments and I will try and address that as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.